Beneath the parched red earth of Karnataka, where the sun bakes the ground into a cracked mosaic, lies a forgotten empire. It is a land of ghosts, haunted by the glimmer of what once was. This empire was not ruled by kings, nor defended by armies. It was carved by miners, engineered by visionaries, and fueled by a single, insatiable obsession: gold. For over a century, this small patch of earth shimmered with a feverish ambition. Its wealth was measured in ounces, its cost in human souls. Today, it lies silent. The machines are still, the voices are gone, a ghost town, a whisper of an epic buried beneath the dust. This is the story of the Kolar Gold Fields, a name that once commanded respect in the boardrooms of London. It was a place where fortunes were made overnight and where thousands of lives were lost in the dark. This is the story of how the shine of gold lit the dreams of an empire and cast long, dark shadows on the men who dug for it. The hunger for this land's treasure is ancient. Long before the British, the Chola kings drew gold from these hills. Roman coins unearthed here speak of trade routes long vanished, a testament to a global desire that has spanned millennia. But this was small-scale work, a gentle scratching at the surface. It took a new kind of hunger, an industrial appetite, to tear the heart out of the earth. The catalyst arrived in 1873. A retired Irish soldier named Michael Lavelle, a man with little more than a rumor in his pocket, and the boundless confidence of a colonial adventurer. His discovery triggered one of the first and greatest industrial gold rushes in Asia. The news spread like wildfire. A syndicate was formed in London, and the true machine of empire arrived. The roar of industry shattered the ancient silence. Giant headframes, skeletal towers of iron, rose against the sky. Dynamite blasted through rock that had lain undisturbed for millions of years. This wasn't just mining, it was a declaration of war on the land itself. By the 1880s, they had transformed this rugged terrain into one of the deepest and most advanced gold mines in the world. The mines didn't just extract gold, they built a city from its profits. KGF, the Kolar Gold Fields, became a bizarre mirage. Little England. On the surface, it was an idyllic English county town, airlifted and dropped into the Indian Deccan. It had pristine tennis courts, grand churches, and exclusive social clubs. It was a hermetically sealed bubble of British civility, with manicured bungalows and shaded verandas where afternoon tea was served. Yet beneath this meticulously crafted illusion, a different truth was unfolding. For every clink of a teacup on the surface, there was the clang of a pickaxe in the suffocating dark below. The descent into the mine was a descent into another world. Thousands of impoverished Indian laborers were packed into a metal cage and plunged into the earth each day. The air grew thick and hot, the pressure building until they reached the workface, thousands of meters underground. Here, they worked in conditions that defied endurance. The air was a toxic soup of silica dust, which slowly turned their lungs to stone. The unique terror of KGF was the rock burst, a spontaneous, violent explosion of rock under immense pressure. Accidents were not just tragic, they were an accepted cost of business. This was a world of two cities. While British families enjoyed electric lights long before many parts of London, the miners returned to overcrowded, squalid tenements. Men, women, and even children played a role in this vast machine, breaking rocks, crushing ore, hauling debris for pennies a day. The gold they unearthed filled the treasuries of an empire half a world away. But those who mined it rarely saw its glint. But no vein of gold is infinite. As the decades passed, the mines had to go deeper, plunging more than 3 kilometers into the planet's crust. With every meter, the cost of extraction soared. The mine was beginning to devour itself. The profit disappeared. After India's independence, the British left. The mines were nationalized, but the new government inherited a dying giant. The system, built on a colonial model of high risk and cheap labor, was already cracking. What had once been an industrial marvel had become a national burden. The end was inevitable. In 2001, after more than 120 years of continuous, roaring life, the government shut the mines down. The final whistle blew, a long, mournful sound that faded into nothing. The great pumps fell silent, and the water, held back for a century, began its slow reclamation of the dark tunnels below. Overnight, KGF became a city without purpose. Thousands lost their livelihoods. The hospitals closed. The schools were abandoned. The grand clubs of Little England fell into ruin. And what remained was silence. But even silence tells a story. It speaks of the generations of laborers who gave everything and received nothing. Of a city born from the belly of the earth and ultimately swallowed by it. Of a brutal environmental legacy. Of landscapes scarred, and of giant white hills of cyanide dust that poison the soil and the air. And yet, some stayed. Descendants of the original miners still walk these cracked streets. They live in the shadows of the rusted headframes and fading memories. They wait, not for a new gold rush, but for recognition, for repair, for remembrance of the human cost. Because this story was never just about gold. It's about what the dream of gold does to people, the hope it brings, the lives it reshapes, and the profound, deafening silence it leaves behind. KGF is no longer a mine. It is a monument. A vast tomb dedicated to ambition, to exploitation, and to a glory forgotten by the world. It is the whisper of a time when the earth bled gold, and no one listened to its cry.